Good morning. The dogs are chatting among themselves about what's going on in today's world. Miss Helen, you need to shut up. Miss Helen, shut up. Thank you. Gotta love dogs. The same way as I like democracy. I love it. I love how sometimes we get together, and sometimes for the better or for worse, not be under an authoritarian. Because a lot of times when you're an authoritarian, it's like being a captain on the Titanic, basically. And what I mean is this: a lot of times, dictators, as well as Captain John Smith, did not see what was coming. So you put everything into place, do everything you can to safeguard your passengers, safeguard the people, and it sends in a place when they brace for impact. To me, January 20th, 2025 is not going to be a day of apocalypse. It's just simply is not. And once those votes are verified on January 6th, so next in the upcoming months, it should be a real peaceful transition. But in the incoming months, who knows what's MAGA has in store, or what a conspiracy things are going to say about Antifa. It's going to this Antifa, that. And right now, many MAGA judges are starting to signal that they're going to throw many Mexicans out of this country. So that's one of the things that's being in the works as we speak about immigration. There will be a big mass deportation coming January 20th, or the day plus. Biden, on the other hand, due to his credit, he's like the great Oz who's behind the scenes on everything. He's been in Congress for over 40, 50 years, understands the ins and outs of Washington, and just knows how it's important that if you're not the winner and not being able to push through your agendas whatsoever, the last thing you can do is just stack the courts. And when you stack the courts, there's more of a plethora of judges you can go to on both on the first level and then on the appellate. The Supreme Court, forget about the Supreme Court. There are 5 corrupt. Who's that? Yeah, out of the 9 judges, like 5 of them are strictly they're just corrupt as hell. You can forget about that. But what's going to end up happening is that Supreme Court is going to get inundated with many cases. It goes from the appellate court up to the Supreme Court, and things that the Supreme Court wants to get done. I really do not. But there's going to be like, if this case gets thrown out one court, in other cases they don't what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a lot of cases that the Trump administration is going to say there are frivolous cases, and it'll do whatever it takes just to get them thrown out of court and get the agenda pushed through. But I don't think that's ever going to happen because of the fact that you have some really top-notch attorney generals around the United States that can actually put together arguments for their own cases against the United States government. And when you have that, you got yourself a good check on democracy. You got a good check on the executive branch. So the Supreme Court has basically given themselves carte blanche access to all cases. They say they're the I say so. So what the courts, what the attorney generals are going to be doing in the meantime, who put together these suits against the government, they're going to have a bad coalition of a lot of evidence to support a case against Trump and his administration, his cabinet members, his policies, maybe against the FBI for all we know. The thing is, what's going to be even worse if the FCC gets the net neutrality thing get thrown out altogether. Oh gosh. A thing about democracy is Republicans know how to throw their authority around. Democrats are kind of squeamish. Truth is, that's how democracy works. It's sort of like a back and forth. And you wonder why things don't get done. Because in an organized chaos sort of political system, everyone's supposed to respect the rules. Not the case. They make these rules so they can break them. So they can say that we're not a dictatorship. And that's why they put some of those rules in there. It's sort of like a ruse, basically. It's not like I'm trying to say it's not like the king knows best. The king does not know best. That's why he's got advisors. And if you got like a lot of yes people around you and things just go drastically wrong, I think the whole point is for government to go drastically wrong. So people get discouraged and disengaged. What's the word I'm looking for? Discouraged from even thinking that democracy is a good form of government. And a lot of MAGA is basically saying, what's the point of democracy when things do not get done? And I can understand their argument. Sometimes an authoritarian may know what's best for his people or her people, But I haven't known any female dictator savage you. Kamala Harris won the election. I don't think anything would have just gone through. I think Trump would have just not accepted the results and have the court systems work for him. But I have to look at the polls, the after polls, and the exit polls to really understand what really happened. But I'm going to assume many Black and Latino blue-collar workers sided with Trump because they kind of felt abandoned by the Democratic Party because they kind of felt like they're being taken advantage of, and I know that's the truth. The Democrats have taken advantage of the working class. When I talk about the Democrats, I'm talking about the corporate Democrats. Well, we're not as bad as them. What sort of warped reality are you in? If you take money from the oligarchs and you say you're for the people, or you say for the working class, and you feel like you're being lied, and you know you're full well you're going to be lying to them when you say, oh, we tried. You didn't even fight. And a lot of times they don't even fight. What they do is they put together a big piece of legislation. Somebody who's strong enough to actually put something out there, boom, and put a bill in. That next thing you know, that comes off, that comes off, that comes off, and that comes off. Here you go. Hands it to the majority leader in Congress. Once that's passed, hands it to the Senate. And that passed. So with a few minor tweaks, they get together. What you call consolidation, though. I think what it is reconciliation. That's what it is. Once you put the reconciliation where they kind of agree on what things are put in, so they present this to the president for that president to sign. What became of this becomes this to the president of the United States. And everybody in Washington is happy, and you, on the other hand, are unhappy. This is why democracy kind of is a double-edged sword. We all need to do our part. Our part is to vote for these people. How we vote for them depends upon what you believe in and what you want to pay attention to, whether or not pay attention to the polls or not. You don't really care. You just know what you believe in, and that's all that really matters, and that's how you're going to vote, and that should be respected by the candidates. So, how do you rebuild a democratic form of government in a corrupt system? Back 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, The Republicans looked at what the New Deal did for America. And they kind of looked at the Americans, the middle class, more say so, that they had more power with their money. Things were less expensive. People were working, having a decent wage. And that really doesn't sit well with many people who are in the top 1%. Because they kind of felt we're being cheated. How can you be cheated when you got all the money? That's the one thing I'll just throw back at them. How can you be cheated when you profit from them? So I'm not going to rehash anything I've said before, but it's kind of important to understand that I don't think there's going to be FBI agents coming to your house or DEA or ATF or CIA, all that alphabet government stuff going to be coming to your house and taking you to jail just because you believe in something and speaking your mind. I just don't. If you commit a crime, yeah, you do need to go to jail. But for the most part, I think democracy is pretty much safe. And I think, for the most part, wherever you're at, if you see something that's really sticking out like a sore thumb, tell somebody about it. Address it. Address it to your congressman. Address it to your senator. Make sure you're heard. Use the press. Do whatever it takes to address that issue that you feel that's important to you. Right or wrong. I think that's what I said. Right or wrong. Because a lot of people credit people who are willing to stand up and fight for your belief in we the people. There's many great civil rights leaders, many politicians who bled and went to jail just for the cause for we the people. And if you're one of the few lucky ones that are willing to step up to thwart government intervention or thwart anything that seems contrary to the Constitution, you will be remembered. You will be honored. Just because you have a day name there, it doesn't mean you're not going to be forgotten. Because when you have things like names like Martin Luther King Jr., he had a day named after him. What was that? Cesar Chavez, another. Juneteenth is another. Many stood up and fought and died to actually try to save America from itself and their self-destructive behaviors. Of course, you can hate. That's a God-given right in this country to hate, but doesn't give you the right to thwart other people's civil liberties. So, what's at stake here in the next 4 years? A lot is at stake, but there's a lot of people in play to preserve democracy. If you're uncertain, get into the fight. Get your hands messy. Dig in. Find a way to serve, even if it means putting something on YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, X, Facebook, Instagram. Use that social platform because a lot of people use it, and it's the best way to get the voice out. And if you don't do that, finance your own interest, or we get involved with firms that are willing to fight for democracy, or willing to fight for your interests, because it works both ways. Because there's going to be the balance of powers is always going to shift one way or the other. And a lot of times it's dipped in the favor of the rich and wealthy, and that's the truth. But if you wanted to make it fair and make everything balanced, sometimes you gotta end up saying to yourself, what do I got to lose if I don't speak up? You have a lot to lose. As long as you've got a voice, you're responsible. You don't scream fire in a full movie theater. Chances are you're going to make a big, huge difference in America itself. And there's a little small part, small part of your history in America. As every day goes by, the past is always going to be accumulated. The past is what you call is history, because you're part of it. A part of this ongoing experiment. Now we're in the phase of whether or not the far right can actually govern. And the far right cannot govern. Chances are the sways of the pendulum will swing to the left in the next 4 years. And guess what? It will swing back left in 2028. But because we are fair weather, because we always want to see some sort of change, whatever it is, whether good or bad, which kind of sucks because some people are willing to want to live an American dream. The American dream is a stable family, a stable house, a stable paycheck. That's the American dream. Stability should be your focus. And saying, I'm not like them, is not an argument when your mediocrity doesn't trump Trump's agenda.